Continuing the dialogue, longtime advocates share ideas about supporting Albuquerque's arts.
Today we're going to have a discussion about the future of art in our community. What do we need to do to kind of continue the work that we've done?
Have faith and hope.
Faith. What do you mean by that, Suzanne?
Well, it's very challenging on a day-to-day basis to make creative events and bring people together on tight budgets. But if we believe in what we're doing, I believe we can succeed. And I feel like a lot of faith, not religious faith, but artistic faith, has been what's guided me and allowed me to continue even when there are many challenges.
What have you seen, Sherry? Like how do Borqueños, Albuquerqueans, do they believe in the arts in the city?
I think our sense of community is so strong around the arts. And I think that for what I see, what we need in this idea of faith is we need to keep supporting creativity, because creativity, creative expression fosters more creativity. And I think the more we have, the more problem solving we do, the more we move ourselves forward.
Regina, what I want to ask you is, what do artists need? What does that mean, supporting the arts or supporting the artists?
Well, Hakeem, I think it's really important that we give artists the skills, the tools that they need to better integrate in the economy, in the creative economy. I mean, artists are great at being artists. We're all creative, we know how to do that well. But what many of us did not learn how or have not learned is really how to use that art, use that expression as a means of supporting ourselves, as a means of being part of that economy, perhaps starting a business, perhaps teaching, perhaps developing a career path, and really using that as a viable career. And you need a set of tools in order to do that.
Can I ask you, what are some of those tools?
Well, tools like strategic planning, figuring out how to develop a vision and mission. What do you want? Where are you going? And how are you going to get there? How do you develop goals? What if you want to start a business? How would you do that? How would you figure out what the financial and legal requirements are? What about your intellectual property? How do you protect your intellectual capital?
Let me ask you, Suzanne, you know, as an organization, how do you see the role of 516 in supporting artists?
Most obviously is providing a space to show their work, but I think also this role of creating dialogue around the artwork is really important thing that we bring to the conversation, and giving artists a chance to talk with the public and interact, and giving the public a chance to engage in a learning dialogue, not just looking at art as decorative objects, but really engaging in how does it relate to our current place and time, and how is Albuquerque connecting to the rest of the world around current issues, and discussing that all through the lens of the artwork.
Can you tell us a little bit about an exhibit that actually sparked dialogue within the community?
Part of our goal is accessibility and to mix up the audiences. The current show we have up is called Heart of the City, and it explores the urban environment through the eyes of lead artists and youth apprentices. So we've had several public events where people have had a chance to present their ideas and ask questions and dialogue about what the artists have created and what their visions are for the future.
Sherry, you mentioned before this idea of arts for problem solving. Can you talk a little bit more about that and and how you've seen that done?
From my perspective,
Sure.
in my role, we see art come forward a lot to help us solve problems with community identity, in terms of using public art out in the community, art solving problems about history in our community. We see art beautifying our built environment.
Art can be a catalyst for so many things, and in looking at downtown, we know that one art exhibition isn't going to suddenly revitalize all of downtown and answer all those questions, but just posing the questions and spurring the dialogue, I think is really valuable in looking at how the role of art can transform our community and enrich it.
What is the state of that dialogue, and what are the answers to those questions?
Well, I would say that from my perspective, the role of government is, we provide ways for us to move people on roads and bike trails. We provide ways of moving water through our neighborhoods. And we also have the responsibility and the role of providing avenues for creativity and be inspirational for a whole broad set of audiences. And again, kind of as I was saying, this idea that if we can support creativity, we all become more creative. So it's just another infrastructure that we can provide to keep things moving forward.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think art is an essential need. I think many times it's, when governments are wrestling with their budgets, it's considered non-essential. And I really think that's not true, that kids need it growing up and communities need it. It's a way for people to come together and process what's happening in our current time and place. And it's a way to engage people on a deeper level, like a soul level. It's an important means of communication that has to be nurtured.
You know, what I see happening is that art is crossing over with the various industries, the various sectors, and it's really becoming very big in tourism. Because why do people come to visit a place? Why do they visit a community? It's because of the art, the culture, the cuisine, and cultural tourism is really quite big globally. And at first glance, it's not about the art, but really it is. It is about the art.
So I've had this dialogue with my contemporaries, and there's a little pushback to that. Like, I understand exactly what you're saying, Regina, about the tourism dollars are there, but they're there for certain kinds of art. They're there for what people view as authentic New Mexican art. How do we support artists and still leave them in the driving seat to where it's not driven fully by the market, but they can still create?
Well, I think it's really more about the community. So, for example, Santa Fe is driven by tourism, but their brand is really about traditional art. And I think Albuquerque's brand is more about contemporary art.
I think it should be.
is,
I
yeah.
think in both Santa Fe and Albuquerque, contemporary art is under, capitalized.
Well, undervalued.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
I think that's changing. And so maybe part of artists figuring out where they fit in is, where do they fit in their community? And without exploitation, how do they capitalize on that without selling out? And there's always that tension.
Do you think that people outside of New Mexico see us that way? And if not, what do we need to do to make that our identity?
Well, I'd say that Albuquerque, we have some strong traditions here and a lot of history to draw on those traditions, but we're also very much a sort of a fusion community where we cross those things over. And I think as long as we continue to support that creativity and blending these new ideas together, that energy is gonna bubble up and it's gonna get out there, and we would have a different kind of identity.
I think we need to think more about our shared image for New Mexico. We collaborate with each other in many different ways. So right now, I'm just in the midst of organizing a collaboration to showcase the contemporary in New Mexico with Currents New Media Festival in Santa Fe. And then 516 Arts is producing Digital Latin America, which grew out of the International Symposium on Electronic Art. So we're really highlighting the fact that there's international new media art happening in New Mexico at the same time this summer. So we're doing sort of a national campaign to raise awareness about New Mexico as a destination for very cutting edge new media work on an international scale, not just local.
There's so much going on, and then there's all these artists over here who don't know about it, and that's on the artistic end. Let's not talk about on the other end where there's so much art going on and the audiences don't know about it.
Yeah.
So as organizations and institutions, what's our role?
In the very near future, we will have a designated citywide calendar of events. And we're going through the process of populating that calendar right now with everything that's going on in the city. And I personally am blown away. I mean, I know that there's a lot going on, but the amount of information that's out there that's kind of been separated in all these different little media streams, is going to come together in one place, and I think we're going to be blown away.
There's a lot brewing right now. I feel like we're in a very fertile moment
Absolutely.
because so many of us are working on parallel efforts, and trying to bring everybody together to educate us all about what each other are doing is really valuable, I think. But I'm seeing a lot around this downtown effort. Downtown's really in the conversation, and the arts and culture are at the center of that discussion, which is really exciting.
Why are the arts and culture at the center of that discussion of kind of the economic future of downtown?
The arts are a real building block for economic development by making a place appealing, by improving the local economy, as well as attracting people from other places. So it's really an essential piece of development. If you just have buildings and corporations and government, that would be a boring place. That what brings it alive is the arts, and I think people are starting to recognize that and take that discussion more seriously.
Part of the attraction is the quality of life. I mean, when employers look at new cities, new places to relocate, are the employees going to be happy living there?
Right.
And arts and culture play an important role in that. So it's no longer ignored. It's a very important factor.
So let's again play with this creative class that we're trying, this extended creative class we're trying to attract. When they are even thinking about coming here for the arts, what are they seeing? What do you think our perceived artistic identity is?
Wade Patterson, the director of the Sawmill Land Trust, addressed that issue of Richard Florida's concept of the creative class as if it's something that we have to attract from somewhere else, like the brilliance and the creativity is going to come from elsewhere. And Wade really stressed this terrific process that they went through with the sawmill development, where the great ideas and the creative ideas came from a grassroots level in the community. And part of our challenge is arts workers, I think, is to bring out the creativity that's here, that we have this abundant creativity, and I think we need to seek it out and celebrate it. And it's great to attract creativity from elsewhere, but I think number one, the building block is what the resources we have here and the brilliant people in our own neighborhoods.
What can we fix with the work that we've already done? What are our blind spots? What are our gaps that you see in Albuquerque?
Networking, networking, networking. I mean, Sherry and I talk about this all the time, how important it is to have that network established, because it's not just who you know in that inner circle, but it's who you know beyond that. And getting out there and learning about all these connections, learning about all these opportunities, and taking advantage of them. If there's a call for an exhibition, participate. If there's a call for public art, or if there's an opening, participate. And I mean, it's no longer 6 degrees of separation. It's 1 or 2 degrees.
Well, even if you don't get the call,
You get the experience.
And you get the network.
And the
Like
network.
If you make it to a certain stage,
Yeah.
you're going to meet the other artists that made it to that stage. My follow-up question, yes, networking, but networked to what? And are we creating the petri dish for these networks to kind of thrive in? What are we doing to create
That's
that?
what I was going to say, that yes, it's networking and responding to the calls, but it's also getting outside of your silo and going to hang out or a special meeting of the engineers or the scientists.
I've been doing arts administration here for around 20 years, and I'm amazed at how we work together. These colleagues, these friendships that have been developed over time, we share with one another, we share resources and ideas, and I know for myself, I wouldn't be able to do anything without a huge amount of collaboration and brainstorming and sharing with others in my field. So always growing that network, I think, is really critical, and also working together. Not just in the arts, but across disciplines with scientists, technologists, and other areas as well.
We got to talk about what we needed to fix. What's working?
What I'm encouraged by is in my classrooms, I'm seeing more and more students, not just arts majors, but students, engineering, medicine, law, the arts and sciences, who are taking arts management, who are interested in the arts. Maybe not necessarily as a full-blown career, but they're interested in keeping their hands involved in the arts and having more multifaceted career. So they're interested in learning how they can make art a part of their life and a part of their career. I find that very encouraging.
my generation is likely to switch careers at least 3 times in our lifetime as opposed to our parents who worked.
Of course it is.
Well, and I love that. As an artist, I just think it's very liberating to think you can keep reinventing yourself and keep learning and growing in new ways and not be tied to one job your whole life.
Absolutely.
I think I would just add that as a city, we've come together every other year when we vote to invest in our infrastructure. We invest in quality venues. We invest in our libraries. We invest in making sure that there's places out there for activities, for creativity to be expressed, whether it's the museums or the parks, or we continue to come together as a community and keep the places available for the creativity to happen. So I think that is working for us, and it shows because we hear about it all the time from people saying, wow, when I came to Albuquerque, there's so much art there, and it's not just one kind of art, there's so much of it.
One thing I think is working is actually risk-taking and trying really new and different things and challenging the norm. I think people crave that, and over the years doing arts administration, I have different voices. One voice will say, reach as many as people as possible, and another voice will say, do something totally exceptional and off the wall and see what happens. But the more we do really adventurous, risk-taking activities, the more people love it. People like to be challenged. Failure is such a valuable part of this process of growing and reaching new heights, and not being afraid to take risks and leap forward.
I want to thank you, Sherry, Suzanne, and Regina for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.